The cargo bay smelled like burnt metal and fear. Rin pressed her three-fingered hand against the cracked viewport and watched another piece of hull plating tear away into the void. Her ship, the Quiet Prophet, was dying around her. "Captain, we have maybe 6 hours before the reactor goes critical," Data said from the engine room. The engineer's voice crackled through the damaged communication system. "I cannot fix this. We need a repair station." Rin looked at the star chart floating above the navigation console. The nearest Talvin colony was 3 weeks away at their current speed. They had maybe 6 hours of life support remaining, maybe less. The pirate attack had torn through their shields like they were nothing. 4 ships against 1 merchant vessel. It was not even a fair fight. "We could send a distress signal," Pilos said. Her first officer stood near the weapons console, his scales flickering between gray and dark blue, fear colors. "Maybe someone will answer." "Pirates monitor those channels," Rin replied. "We broadcast our position, and more vultures will come to pick our bones." "We are already dead if we do nothing," Pilos said. Rin hated that he was right. She walked to the communication station and stared at the controls. 23 crew members depended on her decision. 23 lives that would end in the cold darkness of space if she chose wrong. "Send it on all frequencies," she finally said, "even the dead zone channels." "Captain, those channels are restricted," Pilos warned. "The hegemony does not allow civilian use of military frequencies." "The hegemony is not here to save us," Rin said. "Broadcast everything. Ship name, position, casualties, damage report. If anyone is listening, I want them to know we need help now." Pilos worked the controls. The message went out into the darkness, a small electronic scream hoping someone would care enough to answer. Rin did not have much hope. In 40 years of running merchant routes, she had seen plenty of derelict ships floating in space. Nobody came for them. Nobody cared about traders and cargo haulers. They were the invisible workers of the galaxy, noticed only when they failed to deliver goods on time. 2 days crawled past like wounded animals. The crew rationed air and water. Data managed to squeeze a few more hours from the failing reactor, but everyone knew it was temporary. They were just choosing how they wanted to die, quick in an explosion or slow as the air ran out. Rin sat in her captain's chair and tried not to think about her family back on the home world. Her daughter was expecting her first child. Rin had promised to be there for the birth. That promise was turning into another lie the universe would swallow. "Captain," the sensor officer's voice cut through the silence, "I am detecting energy signatures, multiple contacts dropping out of FTL." Rin's heart sank. The pirates had returned. Of course they had. Damaged ships were easy prey. "How many?" she asked. 6 contacts, very large. The computer cannot identify the design." 6 ships. The pirates had brought reinforcements. Rin pulled up the sensor display and froze. The ships appearing on her screen were enormous. Each one was 10 times the size of her merchant vessel. Their energy signatures blazed on the sensors like small stars. "Are those hegemony dreadnoughts?" Pilos whispered. "No," the sensor officer said. "The computer has no match in any database. These ships are completely unknown." A communication request flashed on the console. Rin stared at it for a long moment before accepting. Whatever was about to happen, running was no longer an option. The voice that came through spoke perfect Talvin language. "This is Commander Ann Reeves of the Human Expeditionary Fleet, Vessel Steadfast. We received your distress call. Medical and engineering teams are preparing to launch. Please stand by for rescue operations." Humans. Rin felt her blood turn cold. Every child in Talvin space grew up hearing stories about humans. Deathworlders from a planet so harsh it should have killed them. Creatures that breathed poison, survived in vacuum, and fought with a fury that terrified the galaxy. The stories said humans never abandoned their own, but they also said humans were dangerous beyond measure. Captain Pilos looked at her with wide eyes. Should we respond? Rin thought about her crew. She thought about her daughter. She thought about dying alone in the dark versus accepting help from the unknown. "Tell them we accept their assistance," she said. The response came immediately. "Acknowledged, Quiet Prophet. Our shuttle will dock in approximately 12 minutes. Please prepare your crew. Everything is going to be fine." Everything is going to be fine. Such simple words from creatures the galaxy feared. Rin watched her sensors as a smaller craft detached from one of the massive human ships and began approaching. Her crew gathered near the airlock, some holding makeshift weapons. They were terrified. "Put down the weapons," Rin ordered. "If they wanted to kill us, they would have done it already." The human shuttle docked with a gentle thump. Rin heard the airlock cycling. She positioned herself in front of her crew, trying to appear brave even though her scales were showing fear colors she could not control. The airlock opened. 12 humans entered wearing environmental suits and carrying equipment cases. They were tall, built strong like predators, but their movements were careful and slow, non-threatening. The one in front raised her hand in what might have been a greeting gesture. "I am Commander Ann Reeves," she said through her suit speaker. "Where are your injured crew members?" Not a threat, not a demand, just a simple question about who needed help first. Rin pointed to the medical bay where 3 crew members waited with radiation burns from the reactor damage. Anne turned to one of her team. "Peter, take care of them. Lewis, check that reactor before it kills everyone on this ship." The humans moved with quick efficiency. They worked like they had done this 1,000 times before. Maybe they had. Rin watched them and wondered what kind of species answered distress calls from strangers. What kind of people crossed the galaxy to save aliens they had never met? Anne approached Rin and removed her helmet. She had brown skin and dark eyes that looked tired but kind. "Your ship took heavy damage. We can repair it, but it will take time. Are you willing to accept our help?" "Why?" Rin asked. "Why are you helping us?" Anne smiled. "Because you asked, that is reason enough." The human named Peter worked on the injured crew members like he had been treating Talvin his entire life. His medical scanner hummed over burns and wounds, and strange devices dispensed medicine that actually worked. Rin watched him treat her communications officer, whose arm had been nearly severed in the pirate attack. "This will feel strange," Peter said in slow, clear Talvin. "The nanites need to rebuild damaged tissue. It itches but does not hurt." The communications officer nodded nervously. Within minutes, the bleeding stopped. Within an hour, new skin was growing where there had been exposed muscle. Rin had never seen such advanced medical technology. The hegemony hospitals could not heal this fast. Meanwhile, Lewis and his engineering team swarmed over the reactor like organized insects. They spoke in rapid human language, coordinating repairs with practiced ease. Data followed them around, trying to understand their methods. "Your containment field is failing because the magnetic coils are misaligned," Lewis explained through a translator device. "We can replace them, but I need your permission to access the core." Data looked at Rin. Letting unknown aliens into your ship's reactor was basically inviting disaster, but the alternative was certain death. "Do it," Rin said. Anne stood beside Rin in the cargo bay, watching her team's work. "How long since the attack?" she asked. 3 days, Rin replied. 4 ships came out of nowhere, pirates using military-grade weapons. We never had a chance." "Did they take anything?" "No, they were still shooting when we managed to jump away. I think they wanted to disable us first, then board and take everything." Anne's expression hardened. "That matches the pattern we have been seeing in this sector. 37 merchant vessels have gone missing in the last 4 months. 37, Rin felt sick. The Merchant Guild reported attacks to the hegemony. They said they would investigate. "They lied," Anne said simply. "We have been tracking the incidents. No hegemony ships patrol this area anymore. The pirates know it." Before Rin could respond, The sensor officer's voice crackled over the ship's communication system. "Captain, we have incoming ships. 4 vessels. Same signatures as the pirates that attacked us before." Rin's scales went pale. The pirates had returned. Her ship was helpless, surrounded by humans the pirates had never encountered. This was going to turn into a battle, and her ship would be caught in the middle. Anne tapped her wrist device. "Steadfast, this is Reeves. We have hostile contacts approaching. What is their status?" A male voice responded immediately. "For light raiders, Captain Park confirms. They are broadcasting demands for the Quiet Prophet to surrender all cargo and prepare for boarding." "Tell Captain Park to handle this quietly," Anne said calmly. "We have civilians aboard who are already scared enough." "Understood, Commander." Rin stared at Anne. "Your captain is going to fight 4 ships." "No," Anne said. "He is going to disable 4 ships. There is a difference." Rin pulled up the external cameras on the main view screen. She could see the 6 massive human vessels floating in formation around her damaged ship. The 4 pirate raiders were approaching fast, weapons charging. The lead pirate ship broadcast a message. "Human vessels, this does not concern you. The merchant ship belongs to us. Leave now or face consequences." Captain Park's voice came through calm and cold. "This is Captain David Park of the Human Expeditionary Fleet. The vessel you are threatening is under our protection. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded for inspection." The pirates laughed on the open channel. 6 ships against 4. You humans think those odds scare us. We have been raiding this sector for years. Nobody stops us. "Last warning," David said. "Power down now." The pirate response was to open fire. Energy weapons blazed across space toward the human ships. Rin flinched, expecting explosions and death. Nothing happened. The human shields absorbed every hit without even flickering. The massive vessels did not even move. "Deploying interceptors," David said. Rin watched something she would remember for the rest of her life. The human ships did not return fire with weapons. Instead, they released swarms of small drones that moved faster than her sensors could track. The drones surrounded the pirate ships in seconds, attaching to hull plating and engine ports. The pirate vessels went dark, all 4 of them. Weapons offline, engines dead, life support running on emergency batteries. It took less than 3 minutes. "All hostile vessels disabled," David reported. "Boarding teams are securing the crews. Commander Reeves, the threat is neutralized." Anne nodded like this was a normal day. "Thank you, Captain. Please process the prisoners according to standard protocols." Pilo stepped forward, his voice shaking. "You just disabled 4 military-grade raiders without firing a single shot. How?" "We prefer non-lethal methods when possible," Anne said. "Those pirates will face trial for their crimes. They do not deserve execution without due process." "But they are criminals," Pilo said. "They murder and steal. Why show them mercy?" Anne looked at him with those tired, kind eyes. "Because justice must be better than revenge. If we become killers to stop killers, what have we actually achieved?" Lewis approached from the reactor room, wiping grease from his hands. "Commander, the reactor is stable. I installed new containment coils from our spare parts. This ship will run better than before." "Excellent work," Anne said. She turned to Rin. "Your ship is safe for now, but the reactor repairs are only temporary. You need a proper repair facility. The nearest hegemony station is 3 weeks away, but our fleet has a mobile repair platform. We can have your ship fully operational in 4 days." Rin tried to process everything. These humans had appeared from nowhere, saved her crew, healed the injured, repaired the reactor, and defeated the pirates without killing anyone. It did not make sense. Nobody in the galaxy acted like this. "Why are you doing this?" she asked again. "What do you want from us?" Anne smiled. "We want nothing. You sent a distress call. We answered. That is what decent people do. But we are not your people. We are not even the same species. Does that matter? Anne asked. You needed help, we could provide it, everything else is just details. Rin looked at her crew. They were staring at the humans with a mixture of fear and wonder. These Deathworlders, these creatures from stories meant to frighten children, were the most compassionate beings Rin had ever encountered. The decision to evacuate came faster than Rin expected. Lewis pulled Anne aside and spoke quietly, but Rin could read the humans' body language. The reactor situation was worse than they had said. They were trying not to panic anyone. Anne gathered Rin and her senior officers in the cargo bay. The temporary repairs will hold for about 6 hours. After that, the containment field will collapse regardless of what we do. The reactor will breach. I recommend we evacuate your crew to the Steadfast immediately. Evacuate, Data said. This ship is our home, our livelihood. Your ship can be replaced, Anne said gently. Your lives cannot. Once everyone is safe, we can tow the Quiet Prophet to our mobile repair platform and do proper repairs. But I will not risk 23 lives waiting for a reactor that might explode at any moment. Rin looked at Pilos. Her first officer nodded slowly. They both knew Anne was right. Pride was not worth dying for. We accept, Rin said. Tell us what we need to do. The evacuation was organized chaos. Humans moved through the ship helping Talvin crew members gather personal belongings. They were patient and kind, never rushing or showing frustration even when crew members wanted to take items that made no sense to anyone but themselves. Peter helped an elderly engineer carry a container of mineral samples she had collected over 40 years. Anne personally assisted the communications officer who could barely walk after his injuries. The shuttle trips began. Groups of 5 Talvin at a time were transported to the Steadfast. Rin insisted on being the last to leave, standing on her bridge as the ship grew emptier around her. Anne waited with her. You love this ship, Anne observed. I have been captain for 18 years, Rin said. Every scratch and dent has a story. This ship carried me through asteroid fields and solar storms. It brought me home to my family more times than I can count. Then we will make sure it survives to bring you home again, Anne promised. They were the last 2 to board the final shuttle. As the airlock closed, Rin looked back at her ship one last time. It looked so small and fragile floating next to the massive human vessels, like a child surrounded by protective parents. The Steadfast was beyond anything Rin had imagined. The shuttle docked in a bay large enough to hold 50 ships the size of the Quiet Prophet. Crew members in various uniforms worked on different vessels, repairing damage and conducting maintenance. Rin saw alien species she recognized and several she did not. How many ships are in here? She asked. Right now, 14, Anne said. We have 2 permanent research vessels that travel with the fleet and 12 rescued ships in various states of repair. We will move your ship here once it is safe to tow. A human officer approached. He was older than Anne, with gray hair and calm eyes. Commander Reeves, welcome back. I see our guests arrived safely. Captain Park, this is Captain Rin of the merchant vessel Quiet Prophet, Anne said. Captain Rin, this is Captain David Park, commander of the Steadfast. David extended his hand in the human greeting gesture. Rin carefully returned it, feeling the strength in his grip despite his gentle touch. Your crew is being shown to guest quarters in Section 7, David said. We have prepared accommodations suitable for Talvin environmental needs. The gravity is adjusted, the atmosphere is correct, and we have synthesized appropriate food based on nutritional databases. You keep databases of alien nutritional needs? Rin asked. Of course, David said like it was obvious. We have rescued over 200 ships in the past year. We learned quickly that helping people means understanding their basic requirements. Our computers now have detailed information on 73 different species. 200 ships, Pilos said from behind Rin. You have rescued 200 ships. 217, actually, David corrected. But who is counting? Come, let me show you to your quarters. You have had a difficult few days. Rest and food will help. The guest quarters were more comfortable than the crew cabins on the Quiet Prophet. Real beds instead of sleep hammocks, private washing facilities, a communications terminal connected to the ship's network. Rin stood in her assigned room and tried to process everything. A door chime sounded. She opened it to find Anne holding a data pad. "I wanted to brief you on the situation," Anne said. "May I come in?" Rin gestured for her to enter. Anne sat down and pulled up a star chart on the data pad. "The pirates who attacked you are part of a larger organization," Anne began. "We have been tracking them for 3 months. They operate in this entire sector, targeting merchant vessels carrying valuable cargo. At least 37 ships have been captured or destroyed." 37, Rin repeated numbly. "That is hundreds of crew members." "We know," Anne said quietly. "We have been trying to stop them, but the area is large and our fleet is only 6 ships. We cannot be everywhere at once." "Where is the hegemony military?" Rin demanded. "This is their space. They are supposed to protect trade routes." "The hegemony officially has no resources to patrol this sector," Anne said. "We have requested they send support. They refused." "Of course they did," Rin said bitterly. "Merchants are not important enough. We are just workers, replaceable." "You are important to us," Anne said firmly. "Every life matters. Every distress call deserves a response. That is why we are here." Rin looked at this strange human woman who spoke about the value of alien lives like it was simple fact. "What do you want from me?" "Information," Anne said. "You know this sector better than we do. You know the trade routes, the stations, the places where ships go for repairs. If we are going to stop these pirates, we need local knowledge. We need someone who understands how the merchant networks operate." "You want me to help you fight pirates?" Rin asked. "I want you to help us save lives," Anne corrected. "The pirates are just the obstacle in the way." Rin thought about the 37 missing ships. She thought about crews like hers, sending distress calls that nobody answered. She thought about the hegemony that took taxes from merchants but provided no protection in return. "What do you need to know?" she asked. Anne smiled. "Everything you can tell us." They talked for 3 hours. Rin described trade routes and timing schedules. She explained which stations were safe and which ones were controlled by criminal organizations. She shared information about cargo manifests and shipping contracts, details that would help humans understand when and where pirates would strike next. David joined them after the first hour, bringing food and asking intelligent questions. He understood trade and economics in ways most military officers did not. Together, they built a picture of how the pirate network operated. The command center of the Steadfast hummed with quiet activity. Rin stood next to David and watched displays showing real-time data from across the sector. Human officers worked at their stations with focused efficiency. Nobody shouted or panicked. Everything moved like a well-rehearsed dance. "The main pirate base is here," said Rachel Moore, the intelligence officer. She highlighted a point on the star chart where 3 asteroid fields converged. "Our drones have confirmed the location. We count 47 vessels of various sizes and a converted mining station serving as their headquarters." "That is a significant force," David said. "How many people on that station?" "Best estimate is 800, Rachel replied. "Mix of different species. We also detected life signs that do not match any crew profiles. We think they are holding prisoners." Rin felt her blood go cold. "Captured merchant crews." "Most likely," Rachel confirmed. "The thermal signatures suggest beings held in containment areas. Could be dozens, maybe more than 100. "Then we have to move fast," Anne said. "Every day we wait is another day those people suffer." David studied the display. "Agreed, but we need to be smart about this. A direct assault could get the hostages killed. The pirates might execute them rather than let us rescue them. What if we offer them a deal? Pilo suggested. He had been invited to the briefing as Rin's advisor. Let the prisoners go and we let them escape. We do not negotiate with slavers, David said firmly, but we can create situations that make them act predictably. Rachel, what do we know about their leadership? The base commander is a Gorvian named Tech, Rachel said. Former military, dishonorably discharged for theft. He runs operations like a business. Everything is about profit. So he is a coward who loves money, Anne said. We can use that. The planning session lasted 4 more hours. Humans proposed ideas, analyzed weaknesses, and built contingency plans for every possible outcome. Rin watched them work and realized these were not just soldiers. They were problem solvers who treated combat as the last option, not the first. Here is the plan, David finally said. 3 ships will approach the base openly, broadcasting a message that we are here to negotiate the release of hostages. While Tech is focused on us, the other 3 ships will position themselves to block all escape routes. When negotiations inevitably fail, we move in fast and disable everything before they can react. What about the prisoners? Rin asked. Marine teams will board the station the moment shields drop, Anne said. Their primary objective is securing the hostages. Combat is secondary. We get people out first, handle the pirates second. It was a good plan, a careful plan that prioritized innocent lives over glory or revenge. Rin found herself trusting these humans more with every passing hour. The fleet moved into position over the next 18 hours. Rin stayed in the command center, watching as massive warships executed precision maneuvers through asteroid fields. The human pilots were skilled beyond anything she had seen. They treated their enormous vessels like small fighters, dancing through gaps that should have been too narrow. Approaching weapons range, reported the tactical officer. Pirate vessels are powering up defensive systems. Open a channel, David ordered. The view screen activated, showing a scarred Gorvian in makeshift armor. Tech looked exactly like what he was, a thug wearing the trappings of authority. Human ships, Tech said with false confidence. You are trespassing in our territory. Leave now or face the consequences. This is Captain David Park of the Human Expeditionary Fleet, David said calmly. We know you are holding captured merchant crews prisoner. Release them immediately, and we will allow your people to surrender peacefully. Tech laughed. You think you can threaten me? I have 47 warships and a fortified station. You have 3 ships that wandered into the wrong neighborhood. Turn around before I add your crews to my collection. Last chance, David said. Release the prisoners. Go to hell, human. David closed the channel and turned to his tactical officer. Execute the plan. Everything happened at once. The 3 human ships that had been hidden in the asteroid field appeared behind the pirate base, blocking all escape vectors. Drones launched from all 6 human vessels, thousands of them swarming toward pirate ships. The pirates opened fire, but their weapons could not track targets moving so fast. Within minutes, 20 pirate vessels went dark, systems disabled by the drones. The remaining ships tried to run but found their paths blocked. More drones, more disabled ships. It was surgical and precise, a demonstration of overwhelming technological superiority. Station shields at 60%, the tactical officer reported. They are trying to power weapons. Drop those shields, David ordered. Marines, prepare for boarding. Rin watched as human gunships launched from the Steadfast's main bay. They raced toward the station while fighter drones kept pirate vessels suppressed. The gunships attached to docking ports and hull breaches, and combat teams poured inside. Anne stood at a secondary console, monitoring Marine communications. First team is inside. They have encountered armed resistance. Second team reports finding a prisoner block. They are beginning evacuation. Casualties? David asked. 2 Marines injured, non-critical. They are continuing the mission. Rin listened to the tactical chatter and realized the Marines were taking risks to protect the prisoners. They were using non-lethal weapons when possible, choosing difficult approaches that kept them between the pirates and the hostages. They were treating alien strangers like valuable friends worth dying for. Main prisoner block secured, Anne reported. Count is 93 individuals, multiple species. Medical teams are boarding now. Station Command Center located, another officer said. Marines are breaching. The battle, if it could even be called that, was over in 40 minutes. Every pirate vessel was disabled or captured. The station was under human control, and most importantly, 93 slaves were free. David stood and straightened his uniform. Prepare the medical bays. I want every freed prisoner examined and treated. Contact their governments and families. Start processing asylum requests for anyone who cannot or will not return home. And someone find Tech. I want that coward in a cell before the hour is done. Rin watched the freed prisoners being brought aboard the Steadfast. They looked confused and scared, many of them injured or malnourished. Human medics treated them with gentleness, speaking softly and moving slowly to avoid frightening them further. One of the prisoners was a young Talvine female, barely old enough to be working on a ship. She looked at Rin with hollow eyes. "Are we really free?" she whispered. "Yes," Rin said. "The humans freed you. You are safe now." The girl started crying. The medical bay was filled with the sounds of alien languages and human voices trying to comfort. Rin walked through the organized chaos and saw species she had only read about in trade databases. Drell, Gorvian, Kelton, Praxis, even a few hegemony citizens who had clearly been abandoned by their own government. Peter and his medical team worked tirelessly. They had set up translation devices at every bed, ensuring freed prisoners could communicate their needs. Simple things like asking for water or reporting pain became possible through human technology. "This one has malnutrition and 3 broken ribs," Peter said to his assistant while examining an elderly Kelton male. "Start nutritional therapy slowly. We do not want to shock his system. And get orthopedic in here to set those ribs properly." Rin found the young Talvine female sitting on a medical bed, clutching a blanket like it was the most precious thing in the universe. A human nurse was trying to get her to drink something. "It is just water," the nurse said gently. "Clean water, nothing added. You are safe now." The girl took the cup with shaking hands and drank like she had not tasted water in weeks. Maybe she had not. Rin sat down next to her. "What is your name?" "Sally," the girl whispered. "I was a cargo handler on the Morning Breeze. Pirates attacked us 2 months ago. They killed the captain when he refused to surrender. The rest of us they kept as slaves." 2 months. Rin felt rage building in her chest. This child had been held prisoner for 2 months while the hegemony did nothing. "The humans will help you get home," Rin said. "They are good at that." "Are they really?" Sally asked. "Everyone says humans are dangerous, that they are deathworlders who conquer and destroy." "They are dangerous," Rin admitted, "but only to people who hurt others. To everyone else, they are the kindest beings I have ever met." Anne found Rin later in the observation deck. The commander looked exhausted but satisfied. "We have accounted for all 93 prisoners. 12 need significant medical intervention, but Peter says they will all survive. We are already contacting their families." "What about the pirates?" Rin asked. "Secured in the brig," Anne said. "All 437 of them. We found Tech trying to escape in a personal shuttle. He is now very interested in cooperating with our investigation." "Will you execute them?" Anne looked surprised by the question. "No, they will face proper trials. We are not executioners." "They are slavers," Rin said. "Murderers, they deserve death." Maybe, Anne said, but that is for courts to decide, not soldiers. If we start executing prisoners, we become no better than them. Justice has to mean something, or it is just revenge wearing a uniform. Rin wanted to argue, but found she could not. These humans had rules they followed even when it would be easier not to. They had principles that went deeper than convenience. Rachel approached with a data pad. "Commander, we cracked the station's computer systems. You need to see this." They gathered in a secure briefing room. Rachel pulled up financial records and communication logs. What Rin saw made her sick. The pirates were funded by 3 hegemony corporations, Rachel explained. Specifically, companies that wanted to destabilize this sector's trade routes. They paid tech to attack merchant ships and make the region look too dangerous for independent traders. Why? Rin demanded. So they could buy shipping contracts at reduced prices, Rachel said. When merchants cannot operate safely, corporations with private security forces step in and take over the trade routes. It is basic economic warfare disguised as random piracy. The hegemony government knew about this, David asked. Some officials did, Rachel confirmed. We have evidence of bribes paid to ignore pirate activity. At least 7 hegemony administrators took money to look the other way. Rin felt her world crumbling. The government she had trusted, the civilization she believed protected its citizens, was actively profiting from their suffering. "What are you going to do with this information?" she asked quietly. "Present it to the Galactic Council," David said. "With your permission, we would like you to testify. Your experience as a merchant captain carries weight. If you tell them what happened to you and what we found here, they cannot ignore it." "The hegemony will deny everything," Rin said. "They will claim the evidence is fabricated." "Let them try," Anne said. "We have financial records, communication logs, and 400 prisoners willing to provide testimony. The truth is going to come out whether they like it or not." 3 days later, Rin stood before the Galactic Council. The chamber was enormous, filled with representatives from 40 different species. The hegemony delegation sat in their premium seats, looking bored and dismissive. Rin told her story. She described the pirate attack, the distress call nobody answered except humans, the rescue and the assault on the pirate base. She talked about Sally and 92 other slaves freed from captivity. She presented the evidence of corporate corruption and government complicity. The chamber was silent when she finished. Even the hegemony delegates looked uncomfortable. The council arbiter, an ancient praxis female, spoke. "This council thanks Captain Rin for her testimony. We will investigate these allegations thoroughly. The hegemony corporations named in this evidence will face immediate audit. Any officials found to have accepted bribes will be prosecuted to the full extent of galactic law." One of the hegemony delegates stood. "This is a politically motivated attack on legitimate business interests. The humans are trying to expand their influence by making false accusations." David stood from where he sat in the human observer section. "If our evidence is false, prove it. Show us your patrol logs. Explain why no hegemony ships responded to any of the 37 distress calls we have documented. Tell these people why you abandoned your own citizens to pirates you secretly funded." The hegemony delegate had no answer. The council session ended with formal sanctions against the implicated corporations and a mandate for increased patrol activity in the affected sector. It was not perfect justice, but it was a start. Rin found Anne waiting outside the chamber. "You did well in there," Anne said. "I just told the truth," Rin replied. "The truth is the most powerful weapon there is," Anne said. "People can argue against opinions, but facts are stubborn things." They walked through the station corridors together. "What happens now?" Rin asked. "We continue our mission," Anne said. "There are more distress calls out there, more people who need help. The fleet does not stop just because we won one battle." "I want to help," Rin said suddenly. My ship is repaired. My crew is ready. We know these trade routes better than anyone. Let us work with you. Let us make sure no other merchant has to wait days for a rescue that might never come. Anne smiled. I was hoping you would say that. 6 months changed everything. The Quiet Prophet now served as an official liaison vessel between the human expeditionary fleet and merchant organizations across 3 sectors. Rin had never been busier or more satisfied with her work. Her ship had been upgraded with human communication equipment that could monitor distress frequencies across vast distances. When a call came in, she could relay it to the nearest human vessel within seconds. Response times dropped from days to hours. Lives were saved. Pilos stood at the navigation console plotting their next route. We have 3 merchant convoys requesting escort through the Broken Fields asteroid cluster. Pirates have been spotted in the area. Contact the Swift Wind. Rin said, they are closest to that sector. Captain Hayes loves escort duty. Already done, Pilos said with a grin. He said he will have ships there in 4 hours. Rin smiled. Working with humans had taught her crew efficiency they never knew was possible. More importantly, it taught them that help was not a fantasy. When someone called for aid, someone actually came. The communication system chimed. Anne's face appeared on the view screen. Captain Rin, we just received a distress signal from a colony transport. Engine failure, life support critical. They have 600 passengers including 200 children. Can you meet us at the coordinates? We are already on our way, Rin said. They reached the transport in 3 hours. The Quiet Prophet was faster now, upgraded engines courtesy of human engineering. 2 human rescue ships were already there, transferring passengers to safety. Rin watched children being carried aboard, scared but unharmed. This never gets old, Pilos said quietly. Watching people being saved instead of dying in the dark. No, Rin agreed, it does not. After the rescue, Anne invited Rin to the Steadfast for dinner. It had become a tradition, sharing meals and discussing the sector's ever-changing situation. David joined them, along with Rachel and a few other senior officers. The Galactic Council finally approved the new patrol agreement, David said between bites of what humans called pasta. 8 species are contributing ships to help secure the trade routes. The hegemony even committed 3 cruisers, though I suspect that is just for appearances. 3 cruisers are better than 0 cruisers, Anne said. Even if they are doing it to save face, innocent people benefit. The merchant guilds are reporting a 93% drop in pirate attacks, Rachel added. Turns out criminals prefer easy targets. When they know a distress call brings multiple warships, they find other places to operate. We are putting you out of business, Pilos joked. Good, David said seriously. The day we stop getting distress calls is the day we succeed. Our mission is not to fight endless battles. It is to make ourselves unnecessary. Rin found that philosophy fascinating. Most military forces wanted to justify their existence by finding threats. Humans wanted to solve problems so thoroughly that nobody needed them anymore. How is young Sally doing? Anne asked. She completed her recovery program, Rin said. Peter says she is healthy now, physically and mentally. She decided not to return to merchant work. Too many bad memories. What will she do instead? David asked. She applied to join the Human-Alien Cultural Exchange Program, Rin said. She wants to teach other species about what humans did for her. She wants people to know that help is possible. Anne smiled. That girl is going to change the galaxy. She already has, Rin said. Every person you rescue becomes a living testament to what kindness looks like. They go home and tell stories. Those stories spread. Now when ships send distress calls, they ask specifically for human ships because they know you will actually come. We are not the only ones who come, David said. The Drell have started their own rescue operations. The Praxis Assembly created a merchant protection fleet. Even some hegemony worlds are establishing response protocols. We just showed people it was possible. They talked late into the night about plans and possibilities. The sector was changing. Species that had never cooperated before were working together. Trade routes were becoming safer. The idea that you could call for help and actually receive it was spreading like fire through the galaxy. Later, Rin stood alone in the observation deck looking at the stars. Anne found her there. "Thinking deep thoughts?" Anne asked. "Thinking about first contact," Rin said. "When your ships appeared, I was terrified. Every story I had heard said humans were dangerous. They said you were conquerors and killers." "We can be," Anne admitted, "when we have to be, but being capable of violence is not the same as choosing violence." "Your people answered a distress call from strangers," Rin said. "You risked your lives for aliens you had never met. You freed slaves and fought pirates and asked for nothing in return. Why?" Anne was quiet for a moment. "On Earth, we almost destroyed ourselves. Wars and disasters and stupidity nearly ended our species. We survived because people chose to help each other instead of looking away. We learned that survival is not about being the strongest or the smartest. It is about being willing to extend your hand when someone falls. So you do it for everyone." "We try," Anne said. "We fail sometimes. We are not perfect, but we keep trying because every life matters. Yours, mine, Sally's, everyone's. The universe is vast and cold and empty. The only warmth in it comes from people choosing to care about each other. We refuse to let that warmth die." Rin felt tears in her eyes. "I am grateful my distress call reached you." "So are we," Anne said. "You have become a good friend." A month later, Rin received a package from Anne. Inside was a ship's bell made of polished metal, engraved with the words "Quiet Prophet" in both Talvin and human languages. A note explained it was a human naval tradition. Bells welcomed ships home and honored those who served. Rin mounted the bell in her cargo bay where everyone could see it. Every time the Quiet Prophet helped coordinate a rescue or guided a convoy to safety, she rang it once. The sound carried through the ship, a reminder of what they had become. They were no longer just merchants trying to survive. They were part of something larger. They were proof that different species could work together. They were living evidence that kindness was not weakness and that help was not a fantasy. The communication system chimed. Another distress call, another ship in trouble, another crew praying someone would answer. Rin smiled and began plotting the coordinates. "Pilos, contact the Steadfast. We have work to do." The stars stretched endlessly before them, filled with people who needed help. And for the first time in galactic history, help was actually coming. Because humans had taught the galaxy a simple truth: when someone calls for aid, decent people answer. Not because it is profitable or easy or safe. They answer because it is right. And that made all the difference.